Go where your best prayers take you, unclench the fists of your spirit and take it easy. Breathe deeply of the glad air and live one day at a time. Know that you are precious and learn to trust. Amen. Many of you know Jeff Johnson, who is one of our communicants, one of our great lay people. And what you may not know about him, he is a book expert. He is an antique book guy, has taken classes on it. He's a marvel to me. He has served our downtown library many times, loves books, collects books. And he found a biography of Joshua William Caldwell that I had not read. Now, there's a huge plaque back there about Joshua William Caldwell. So he was a man like you who sat in this congregation. He was born in 1856. He died in 1909, much prematurely. He was in his late 50s. He was quite a man. His grandfather had come to East Tennessee and was in the coal business. Had 2 shafts and 2 mules and 2 wagons and made a lot of money. His son became a lawyer, a prominent lawyer in Tennessee, and then Joshua, like his father, followed his dad into the university. At the times, it was Hume's. They knew each other personally. He went to the university, studied for law, got his degree, started to work. And he became a civic leader. He lived a large life in Knoxville, really serving all manner of community organizations. He was instrumental in helping out at the school for those who could not speak and those who were deaf, now out in East Knoxville. He was a main contributor to that effort. But in all things, he was known as the philanthropist and a very giving man. What's interesting is in his biography are some notes about St. John's. This is a long time ago. I want you to think about it, the late 1800s. And he was faithful, said he was here every Sunday. He was more Protestant than Catholic, which is interesting. He thought of himself as really being into more an evangelical spirit, but he loved the sacraments of the church. But I want you to listen to this, and Jeff shared it with me. And I said, when I heard it, I said, I know where I'm reading this. This is too good. So get ready. It says, also, indeed, his tastes and habits were rather congregation or parochial, rather than diocesan or national. He was a vestryman of St. John's for 15 years and senior warden for the last 12 to his death. He found pleasure and in the church great profit. To the interest and welfare of the congregation, he gave himself freely and his constant and faithful attention to the affairs of the parish received its grateful appreciation. But listen to this. But though often chosen as a parish delegate, his attendance on the diocesan convention was occasional. I mean, he didn't show up, guys. And he was satisfied with a single week at the general convention and never attended another. I laugh because I'm the same way, and so are a bunch of you. There's a tension at St. John's, and always has been, of us being this very vibrant, singular, powerful, individualistic congregation. No doubt about it. And yet we belong to this larger Episcopal church with its great variety and, yes, its overlay of huge institutional life. It has been here from the beginning, this tension. It is not the only tension that we live. Today in the world, congregations find themselves much more driven trying to understand the Christian way of spiritual life versus what would be at an older time a denominational way. It doesn't mean denominations aren't important. It means that we've all become more Christian. We think of ourselves as Christian first. I don't know about you. It may be my experience. When I talk to my colleagues downtown, every one of them say it. William at First Presbyterian, Bill, and yes, we are on first name basis, Bill at First Baptist, and on and on. We talk about the fact that what we're trying to do is understand, how did this Jesus live? How do we live? How do we incorporate this understanding, wisdom, and deep spiritual intent of a Messiah for us to follow That's what drives our energy. We live in a world that's preoccupied with politics. St. John's has never been preoccupied with politics, nor is it today. We live in a world driven by social metrics. And while they are important, our sociology is you. And I promise you, you cannot imagine, if you're not aware of it, of the breadth from that corner to this one just this morning. From, yes, some very new people, to Johnny Majors, who was raised in the Episcopal Church. That's our breadth, and everybody in between. We practice justice at St. John's in a particular way, through you and your participation in the world. I've always thought that the way to practice justice is the way St. John's has done it. If you want justice, you live love. If you want justice, you live lovingly with the people around you. And so what you'll see here, those of you new, those of you who participate, and those who lead, is a congregation focused on taking care of one another through the ups and just the downs of life. And they both occur. And we try to stay strong in the hard places for each other. That's life here. It is my feeling of how St. John's functions, that we are about something large, which is, if I put it the way I think, Chris and I and Bo and Tom and Wade Fry, all of us who've been wearing collars, Michelle Warner-Bolt, all of us who wear collars around you, we think what our job is to hear you talk about God, help you experience God, if we can help with that, and then help you help somebody else with that experience. That's what we're here to do. The rest plays itself out. So we're driven by one another. You know, the inimitable John Haidt said it best. I quoted him a few weeks ago. He said it best and for all time. You may have been to a place or church where you went to see the show. When you came to St. John's, you are the show. So don't put on big hats yet. Let your head get big. You get the point, what he was trying to say. It's up to you. It's up to us. We're it. Look around you. There's nothing else. That's always has it's been. The institution we build is to help us move things along. The energy, the vitality, and what Jesus wants to do is in your hands and mine. It is in your heart and mine. It is in your intellect and mine. It is in your resources and mine. Joshua knew that, and he lived it. And when we live it, we experience something powerful, like the last year. I could stand and tell you story after story, and many of you could too, when I watch all of you go about your Christian lives. That's what it's about. It is our corporate story and all of its individual components put together. That's what church is. Today, church is not easy because community building is difficult. Family life is fractured for many of us. My family lives all over the world, it seems. I bet yours does too. Yes, we communicate, but it's not as good. When the little girls come to my house on Thanksgiving that live in Raleigh, Durham, or Boston, and I get to hold them, my life is experienced in a new and different way. And yours is too. You see, we are a family, just like your other family. That's not hard to practice in our world today. I'm not making it oppositional, but it's a reality check. And so we strive, all of us, to build this place where people are welcome. Patty Field and others were responsible for this, and it was brilliant. A simple thought. There is room for you. It really means that. See, it's focused on you to come and help bring your ideas to build a new ministry, to shape an old ministry. The old way of doing things was you come and the church, meaning me, or maybe Tom or Chris, would tell you what you should do. That's the old days. Those days are gone. Now we're in a partnership. It's exciting. And I'll tell you, some of it won't be easy, but it will build more than we've ever thought. It will help us face the challenges we must face. It will help us answer the problems that we experience. And it will hold us in the faith that Joshua had. My instincts are right, and Jeff, thank you for the book and the thought for this day, that what they live, we live. What they practiced, we are trying to practice. What they built, actually, we get to use, and hopefully we're going to give it away to somebody else who needs it. Do not miss it. The world is hungry for the gospel of Jesus Christ. They want to hear that there is room for you. There's a place to live your life in the heart of God who will not desert you. Never. That's worth everything to me. It is such a privilege to get to do that every day. And when we're here, we share in that privilege together. What I think is, if we keep this up, and I'm not in a hurry about this, there'll be a few more memorial volumes written about you. And I hope there are pages, like in Joshua's, that talk about St. John's in the vibrant, respectful, and yes, indeed, spiritually powerful way that these words come. Well, a year has passed. We start a new year, and we get to do it again. What fun. Amen.